It's the frequency band's birthday today.
I was waiting for the countdown to
Well,
say that we could start.
We could. It doesn't announce itself.
It doesn't announce
No,
itself. Well, it certainly should have, because what to expect, for me to... Well, you haven't seen me in a while, and that's because I haven't done one of these in a while. This is
Right.
obvious from the fact that I didn't do the countdown. And the master here is putting out a video every week.
Okay.
But that has nothing to do with the frequency band, which is alive and well and always has been. And that's because, first and foremost, the frequency band is a non-musical endeavor. And second of all is because the frequency band lives in us and is never not alive in us. And we hope that it's alive in many of you, too, who have spent time in the frequency band. And we know it is for a number of you to varying degrees, some a lot, some a little, or some you just find something will just spark you to reconnect to that part in you, because the frequency band is something for you, because it's also as part of the, in the musical end of it, a sanctuary for you to reconnect to the feelings, reasons, and sentiments that attracted you to music in the first place. And that's a true place, right? And that's the truth of you and your life and your connection. And when was the last time you felt you could come from your truth for your own life in anything and in your music, being true to you, being true to the music? And that's what the frequency band is about, at the musical end of it. But at the core of that is the truth of your life, yourself, with a big S, not the little s. And that's just a thought away. That's just a true connection away. And so the frequency band is alive and well in us and in those in you who would wish it to be so. And to the extent music happens that we can hear and we can be together, that's bonus. And there's been a lot going on in the last couple of years that has not made that as easy as it once was. Not that it was easy then either, but you all know what I mean. But there have been some opportunities to actually work remotely and bring it together and be integrated. And we were thinking about maybe having some of that happen for the frequency band too, in these times, with all its complications. Because complications are not. The truth is not complicated. External complications have nothing to do with the truth. Now, trying to live that truth and express that truth in these times may be complicated, but the truth itself is not. And anyway, I've gone on quite a bit.
That's great.
If you want to say anything about
Well,
the frequency band on its birthday, 29th birthday, 29, right?
I remember that day very well. And it was really potent in that little chorus room. And no, it probably doesn't show up on there. It went a little dark on our screen, but I don't think that shows up on the video. But it's all about truth, and truth has a certain frequency.
Yes.
No matter what that truth is, and if it gets more to the core of what truth actually is about, then the frequency definitely has a different resonance, a different set of overtones and ring to it. And it's just funny, I told you last week I was talking to someone, or I wrote something to someone, and I said that truth isn't attached to anything other than itself.
Mm.
But you have to be prepared if you want to be in the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Not all acoustics support it.
No.
And I think that's the wonderful thing about what you were mentioning about the sanctuary aspect.
Right. But also, if truth is what you want, if truth is more important to you than politics, if truth is more important to you than advancement, certain prestige, all the things that the world would hold in front of you like a carrot and make you feel means the most. But if you have come to that place, or you have experienced that place, where truth is more important to you than any of those things, then whatever sacrifice you'd have to make, and whatever change you'd have to make in yourself and what you believed before or you thought was true before, is worth it. And that can be really difficult. I mean, I know that I've had to go through that myself with specific things, even over this last couple of years, things that I supported over a lifetime. But then I realized certain things weren't adding up, certain things weren't true, or didn't seem to be true, and then I discovered weren't. And then I had to come, it was really a struggle. And really, I could see, it's almost like watching a life flash before your eyes, because you know parts of that life will be gone if you pursue the truth over these other things. And it's for your life, for what music means to you, what you're willing to do that goes against that truth to play music, or what you're willing to do to adhere to that truth to play music. And this is going in directions I hadn't expected, but they certainly are alive in me. And you haven't seen me for a while, so these are the kinds of things. With frequency band, first and foremost, being a non-musical endeavor. And some of you can probably thinking, boy, it's been refreshing not to have her around. And others of you might,
No.
because I will not let that part die. Because it does not die in me.
No.
What I want for you as well as myself.
Mm-hmm.
And what I see in you, when I see you play, when I hear you play, and those of you who have worked with me know, I know immediately whether you're connected to self or not. Immediately. And you can get support for the other stuff in a million different places.
Mm-hmm.
But I can support you, and I will support you to my last breath in that place.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what the frequency band is to me. And I know some of you, that's what it is to you too, and certainly to you.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long we want to make this, and
Well,
I've gone on for a bit. So
no, well, I think it's great. I think it's core. I think it's the foundations of what the frequency band is. And if it's a living foundation, it'll adapt to changes, but at its core will never change.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very, very clear that truth isn't always popular.
No.
But if you look through human history, that's the case.
It's always been the case.
I mean, that's always the case.
It's always been the case.
And no particular group owns the truth.
No.
Okay? But you can align yourself closer to the truth.
And you know it when you're in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just talking about spun off, what side, what group you're with and what their story is, and what other group you're with and what their story is, and never the twain shall meet and all that. You know at any given moment when you are coming from your true self. When you're still enough, when something happens, sometimes if something, getting shaken from something, and in that moment, you know what part is you. And all those other parts have no bearing, and they don't matter in that moment. And that can last for a while, or that can be gone in a flash. But I have never met a person who did not know when that moment was alive in them. And if it's inconsistent with other things that you want to be part of, or whatever, in music, in life, in anything, that is where the struggle is. That is where the battle of life is fought.
Mm-hmm.
And On With the Battle of Life has been one of the key pieces of music and messages in the frequency band when the going gets tough. But
well, I wake
why?
up with that in my mind a lot every day.
Right.
Because in it has, from where it came from, has the essence of continuance.
Right. And of truth.
And of truth. Well, truth will continue.
Oh, yeah.
And other things will seem like they continue, but eventually they drop off. And one thing, this is not opinion. The frequency band is in the natural worlds.
That's the essence of it and the intention of it and where it's based. How close and far away we are from that in any given moment, ourselves included. But the point here is that's the endeavor. That's the attempt. That's where the willingness to change what one might have thought before, to be closer in alignment with that, no matter how disruptive it is to one's life, or even if it's something that has been felt for a long time, and then you're faced with, well, what do I do in this moment? Because if I keep standing for what I know is true, and that's going to be a really big disruption. And it can be anything. It can be anything. There's a million things right now that in the world and in music that could apply to. And I've seen the struggles in many of you. And I've seen this, and I've felt the struggles in myself and seen it in you. And it's high price sometimes. And other times, it flows with ease. And when you're in it, it is ease. And there's like no contradiction.
No, and with that comes a strength.
Yeah.
With that, because, you have to be willing to take certain knocks. One of them you already mentioned about, is it more important to be popular?
And sometimes you could be popular and be true.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's not one or the other, but sometimes it is.
Yeah, sometimes it really is.
Sometimes it's like, well, that's not with the currency of what most people are talking about, even if you're looking at it in the realms of music.
Yeah.
I mean, I play a con right now.
Yeah.
And that's a conscious choice for certain reasons. Now, will I change? Sure, if it feels like it's the right thing to do for me. Now, obviously, that's not going to shake the world truth, okay? But it's also that's a footing for thyself, to thyself be true. If everyone else is going to the next fad that might have a place within the currency of the fashion of the times, fine. And you want a certain employment, for example. You have to fit in a little bit, I understand. But what I'm saying is I'm not going to lose, at this point, not that I ever did actually in truth, lose my voice in the name of what others think I should be. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not getting along with people or bending or compromising, because if you're going to work with people, that's part of it. Right?
Right.
The flexibility to do that. But at the same time, just because everyone else is doing one thing and a group says this is the way to do it, and it doesn't fit you, and it doesn't fit your genuineness and where you're coming from, then you have to live with that contradiction, which is not true to oneself. Right. Unless you have a whole mindset that knows how to place it in a certain way.
Well, what you just said, because what you just said, the last thing you just said, what you were saying was making me think that. Because there are times when the circumstances, whatever they are, whatever other obligations and responsibilities you have, you may have to not compromise your truth. But you may have to be in the presence of things that don't resonate as truly with that. And it's not to diminish that. It's not to discredit that or anything like that. But can you in that moment know that? Can you in that moment still be anchored in your truth and know that there are principles and there are responsibilities and there are whatever that mean that you have to carry on in the presence of that, but you have not lost your anchorage in yourself, in your truth. And when it's possible for you to be that, you are. You don't have to carry on something that isn't the case. And there will be times when you have to make the choice. You will not be able to just carry on and stay anchored in your truth and whatever else. You will have to decide. And that's just part of it too. That's part of the healing of a life. Because life is healed in the truth of how it's lived, or how far away from it will be separation from healing in art. So this has probably gone on too long already, and I forgot to bring a drink with me, and my throat has been acting up ever since I started. So I don't know if you have anything else to say, but
shoot, I wish I would have thought to bring you a drink.
I had one, and then I was getting caught up in 3, 2. I was getting caught up in.
You didn't even hear an actual
and I didn't
countdown.
even have somebody say, like, okay, ding, and I'll start.
Right, you can't.
I was waiting for the ding.
This is plugged in.
Oh,
because the microphone is plugged in.
that threw me off. See?
Yeah, I know. Well, maybe we.
Maybe there's something of value in here. You haven't seen me for a
spontaneous.
while. I wanted to kind of jump in and say hello to everyone, and I've always been there. If not in front of the camera, still always there, always with you, always with this, and on with the battle of life. Happy birthday, Frequency Band.
Happy birthday, Frequency Band.